whakarongo ki te tangi a te korimako. Kōrero flowing out the hook of force. Kaupapa relevant, kaupapa out of bounds, kaupapa exigent, kaupapa paramount. Nā kona whakapiri mai ki te kaupapa tino whakahira whakarongo pi kari mai. Hare mai, o Taringa hare mai. We gotta gather up close everybody. Gather up close everybody. Kani move that body. Kani move that body.
Kawakara, tara, tapu purui, hoi te rangiti, hore te rangi waruhia ke mātau koe ki te kete ata, nei homai ei tahu mato na matu i te rangi. Tātai tia rā, ti whaia ki runga rā, kia matariki, kia rehua, kia pūanga, ki ngā whetu tapu o te tau. E ngā whetu pi roko mai nei koutou, ngā mahuetanga o rātou, tēnā koutou. Kia ora, tātou katoa. Nau mai, hoki mai. Hau mai ki roto i tō tātou whare. Kōrero Taringa! Kei raro nei te manaakitanga o tō tātou wānanga, te wānanga o te aroa. E manaakitia tonu te ana e ngā rauaroha o te reo irirangi o te motu, taunati kia koutou, te māngai pāho. Tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou, i aku hoa.
Hey, tēnā koe, bro.
Tēnā koutou. That was flash, yes.
Ai, i te rongo ahau, i te Mauri o Rangimatamua. Tēnā.
Ai. Me tō tātou hoa kei tā wāhi, tēnei wā tonu.
Kei tā wāhi.
Ai, me o tātou whakaro ki aia, me tāna hoa.
Karekau o ku whakaro aroha ki aia. E kira.
Ai. Ko taia te rātou ki te koroneihana o te Queenie P.
Ai, Queenie P. Iwā tātou nei hoki.
Iwā tātou nei hoki. Hona, kakao, iwā rāwa nei hoki.
Anei ki te Mauri.
I was watching those stories like, when is Queen Bee going to come to the front of the stage? And then finally in his like 10th story dot line thing, I was like, there she is.
Well, also, he went live on his Facebook. I was like, come on now.
I'm surprised security did that. But nā e hoa e tai prāne, e mihi ana ki a koe o te rakato makau a ngā huia, kei tā wāhi hoino e pātata mai nei ki o tātou whakaro, me te mōhio hoki, e hara tērā i te kaupapa nui, haere ai kaurua ki tā wāhi, e haere ki tētai ki te kite, i te tapu i te wehi o tētahi manutunga whakahirahira. Hona ka waiho māu e rā kōrero e whakararahi i tō hoki ngā mai hoa. Hoino, e aku tuahine, tēnā kaurua, kahu e whakapāho mai nei te rotonui.
I rotorua.
Ai, te rotorua nui a kahu mata momoi. I love saying the long versions of those names. Me ako tonu au i te meo.
Cool.
Te roto iti i ki te ai.
E ihenga.
E ihenga.
Ai.
Kia ora. Yeah. Pai, kia koe hoki, kia koe hoki, Erika, kei roto i tō tātou whare. Ai, e pehana tātou i te rānei.
Ka nui te ora. Ka nui te ora. A tāhua te noho tahi ki a kōrua i tēnei rā. Tira e mihi ana ki te hunga whakarongo.
Kia ora.
It feels like I just saw you the other day because I did.
Yeah, it was.
I hea kōrua. Hea te kaupapa?
I te Manawa Haukura.
Manawa Haukura, yes.
The launch of the Manawa Haukura in Tāmaki.
Thank you for reminding me. I was like, when did we say each other?
But it was cool. Yeah. There was that guy on the Pai on the Manuhiri side, and he was in a Ngai Taringa listener.
Yes.
Kia ora.
Yes.
He was of Ngai Taringa. He was a Taringa listener.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
It was great. So just quickly, we had Te Wānanga Aotearoa had launched their Rangahau Institute. And that Rangahau Institute is called Te Manawa Haukura. Me ana kōrero kurahuna katoa. And we had the privilege of being hosted by Te Mahurihuri Marae in Point Chevalier, Auckland.
Ai.
Koutou o Tāmaki Ngāti Whātua, tēnā whakamohio mai te ingoa Māori mo Point Chevalier. Hoino, and we had the likes of Te Reata Makiha. Talking about rangahau now. Hei ko tāna. Ko te mātauranga Māori, me te tautoko hoki nei te kōrero a rangi i te putangātu o te kōrero o te mātauranga Māori he mea hou. Hei ko tāna, ko tā tātou kupu mo te mātauranga Māori, he kōrero tuku iho. Me te mārama hoki ne.
Hei, me te māma.
Ai, te māma hoki.
Ai. Tino tauana tērā ki roto i
ai. Kōrero tuku iho.
Ai. And you know, e te iwi, that's the beauty of it. Within simplicity of our world, there are the complexities of the universe. Hoino.
Oh, wow.
Hey.
No.
I thought you were going to go simple and then you took it Very complex.
Well, complexities are simplicities, and such as simplicities are complexities, e hoa. Mena nei nā kua huri koaro tō tātou ao.
Okay.
Ai.
And koe nā tā tātou kiwaha e hoa ma.
Oh, kia ora.
Mena nei nā.
Mena neina.
Mena nei nā. Nā rere ata anō tēnei I kōrero mai kia hau. Well,
Okay.
he said it one day and I was like, e hoa, hea tēnā.
Hea tēnā.
Kamatu, taku hoa, taku taina a kingi rākete, he kaha, he hono tana whakaako I tērā kiwaha ke Wainganui ana Krahe.
Kia ora.
And mena neina, and rere ata is, he is the tauira or the example he uses. And it means, if we hadn't, or had we,
Yep.
had we not, or had we. So you
Mena
can,
neina.
yeah, so it's about the horopaki. So this is about, I would call it a 6 on the Richter scale of
Aye,
kiwaha.
aye.
Now, normally we have 1 to 5, but there's a
Yes,
6
6,
because,
definitely.
because one, you need to know the heads and tails of the kōrero to know which side of the kiwaha it's being used, and 2, it's taitokero. So it's
I
like
know, I was just like, tino taitokere wake nei tēnā.
Aye. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, mena neina. So here is another. Okay.
Hei tauira.
Hei tauira, and I'll invite you to try one as well. So, tō tātou wai maria I maumai nei tō amarara I te rānei. Mena nei nā ko māku mātou I te ua.
Yeah.
So we're lucky, we're fortunate that you brought your umbrella today. Had you not, we would have gotten wet by the rain.
Yes.
Mena nei nā.
I'm just trying to think of something.
Yeah.
Pātai tāku,
Ai.
ka tae rānei e koe te timata me tēnei kiwaha, me whai horopaki te timatanga me noho ki Wainganui rānei.
E aua, whakamātauria, hea tau.
Like, mena nei nā kāre koe I toha pēr I tērā kiwaha ko kore. He kiwaha I tēnei hotaka, I te makaria māua ko Erika te tahi ki ata nei.
Mena
that's why I'm
nei
like,
nā, ai.
It sounds...
But it doesn't sit with me, like it's,
Yeah.
koe te take pātai nei ahau, whether you can use it at the beginning.
Yeah, I think it's about building the horopaki,
Sure, and then
maybe it's situation, mena nei nā, result.
yeah, that's why I was like, I te wai puta I taku waha, I was like, it doesn't sound right.
Yeah. So we got a reality test today.
It sort of seems a bit similar to me kore ake.
Yeah, it defines the same situation or explains the situation. Yeah. And I think this is why it's probably, you might only hear that around northern areas because that would be their way of saying it.
Whakahua, yeah.
Yeah, whakahua. And so the tauira is, and you can see it, some of the ads in he kōrero mo te kano ārai for the injections. And hei tā te kraura, hei tā rere ata. E whakaro, e kōrero ki taku hoa ke haere ki te wero I taku ringa. Mena neina ko mutu taku kohete I aku whanaunga. He said, I said to my partner, we better go get our injection. Had we not, I'd have to stop growling my family for not.
Oh, yeah. So he's not a hypocrite.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, not to be hypocritical. So there's had we and had we not. So how would we use had we?
Huh? I don't know the difference.
So
Had we
didn't
gone
do
to do
that,
something,
that's
yeah.
what happened.
Oh, right.
And if we did do that, so I don't know, maybe, I don't know, e hoa mā taringa mai. Ngai taringa, if you have any other pātai about this kiwaha or any other examples, tēnā tukuna mai ki a mātou, ki a taringa, hei whakatairanga.
Oh, that's... kei te noho ki roto I au tēnei. And after this, I'm going to go and have a yarn with Shay about it. Just you know, kia tino.
Yeah. And because I've heard this a lot, I've never really... You know how you just go, yeah, I know what that means. And then you try and articulate and teach it.
Yeah.
And then, ko huri ko aro te ao.
Pai, engari pai tēnei.
Ai, and you know...
This is good, yeah.
Complexities and simplicities e wā.
Oh, gosh.
Mena, no reira, koe nā tātou kiwaha e hoa ma. As we hang out with that kiwaha, we'll let you hang out with that. Mena
That's right.
neina.
Mena neina.
Mena neina. Hoino, you know, rua, rau, iwa, te kaumā iwa, koe nei tēnei putanga.
Ai.
Wow.
$2.99.
Whakanuia.
Whakanuia. And mihi ana, I think we wouldn't be able to do this. Well, there goes a mena neina.
Yeah, I know.
Complexity,
How are you going to bring that in?
Ko tai tātou ki tēnei putanga rua rau, iwa te kaumā iwa, ana mena neina.
Mena neina ngai taringa.
Yeah. And it's no koutou o ngai taringa te mana. Mena nei nā kauke he take mo tēnei punua pāho.
Aye.
So, you know, it wasn't for you. You fellas have the authority, whether it is a make or break initiative. Hono, and tā tātou kaupapa, he patapatai. Patapatai. Now, kia tika tā tātou whakahua ko te patapatai tērā, kaua ko te patapatai, he patapatai.
Ai,
Why?
Yeah, koina tā, hei ko, ki hei ki tā praone. Okay, nā reirei mō iau.
Because I always think that too, because, you know, Pātai is with a tohu toa Pātai.
Aye,
and then
and
you would just think it's Patapatai.
Actually, I think it describes the frequency or the amount, because we're meant to be quizzing type of way.
Okay.
Mea rau atu ka huri hei wānanga hoino, koenei te ahunga o taku whakaro ki tēnei kupu patapatai. E nāi e taunaki hi ana e te aka, taku kōrero, patapatai, to question, inquire, provoke, challenge, interview.
Yeah, kei reira te wairua ki au, ko te ui.
Ai,
You know,
ui.
ko te karawhiunga o te pātai. Yeah. It's not just one pātai. It kind of potentially would give that plural context. But yeah, ka matua i reira.
Ka matua i reira.
Yeah.
Mena nei nā ka raru tātou. I don't know if that's the right way, but oh no.
Well,
Ko uki ana i ngā kiwa o taku whānau.
Mā te ahi tēnā.
Mā te ahi te whakamātou. But yeah, so, you know, tika tau hoa, patapatai. And, you know, I think some of our language, like onomatopoeias,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
like te keke, some languages are just, like te au.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Or te kekino. Te au o te kekino. That's the... Yeah. So, patapatai to me, in an audio sense, says it's a rapid type of thing.
Ai,
Right, you know.
ai, e tautoko ana.
Pea koe.
Yeah, sounds good.
So, shall we get into the kaupapa?
Yeah, let's do that, eh?
First
Karawhiua.
Karawhiua.
First Pātai.
First Pātai.
Just this one just came off the top of my head before when you mentioned Paraone's makau. So that kupu makau, you can use that for both male and female, right?
Ai, kia taku whakaro, ai.
Yeah, it's definitely wife or husband or lover or spouse or someone that you admire, adore, your favourite.
Yeah, your favourite.
Your tino.
Tino, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I always hear it in the context of makawariki.
Koia hoki.
And then so I thought, it must be queen.
Tika.
Yeah. And you know, Praone talked about this earlier, about the use of that, because then, was it used during Te Atairangi Kahu, mai marana koe kahu?
Oh, yes. Ko wariwari au te kōrero.
Yeah,
But,
I just remember in the mihi and my ear getting Māori tuned, whatever, realising, is that what they're saying? Ki tō me tō makau. You know, ka whakamānoa tia te kāhui ariki, ka whakamānoa tia tō tātou kuini me tana makau. Something like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
you wouldn't want to use makau rau because that's like many lovers.
Well, kei te āhora nei o tō
Well, no, yes, you
whakahihi.
could, you can,
Mena
of
rānei
course.
whakahihi rānei he.
Ana.
Yeah. And koe rā I tāma ki makaurau ai.
Tāmaki makaurau.
Tāma ki makaurau.
So, what's tāmaki then?
Ko waia tāmaki.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah,
tāmaki
yeah,
is a person. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And ka waiho I reira.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Going into a question from the actual audience. This is from T. Brooke. Not sure if we've actually talked about this before, but what is the difference between Wairua and Mauri?
Oh, my God.
Way to tee it off there, T. Brooke. Very.
He tino pātai tēnā, ne?
Ai.
Okay, shall we just do a round whakaro of what we think?
Ka timata koe ki te Wairua pe. I think we'll look at Wairua, then we'll look at Mauri, mā reira pe hua mai ai tētahi whakaro.
Oh, this sounds like a good strategy, yes.
So ka tukuna te rākau ki Rotorua?
Oh, I see what you
Mā
did
te
there.
manuhiri te nā.
Yeah, nā,
Hara
ka
koe I te
pai.
manuhiri hoina.
Well, you know, kia tino māma pia taku whakamārama. Like the simplest way for me to define the two is Wairua is obviously we're talking about spirit and then Mauri is like a life force.
Kia ora.
So koe
Yeah.
you know, ki au ngā rere kētanga o te Mauri and Wairua. So we all have both of these within us and we're born with them and all, you know, we even I te wā o te, you know, whakatō pia. We'll just call it that. I te kākano o te tangata I roto. You know, all of that.
Kia ora, kia
Engari, he
ora.
Mauri, he Wairua ka whakatō. And, you know, etahi, well, throughout life, we ka Mauri rere, ka Wairua rere, ka hoki, you know, e rāhuatanga katoa, but those ki au koera te rere kētanga o te Wairua me te Mauri.
Kia ora.
Yes, that's pretty much the same as me. But then it really confuses me because then couldn't like they both be the spirit and both be the life force?
Well, koina te pātai hoa, how te rerekētanga, what's the distinction? What's the difference? Because, you know, recently I've discovered or realised that in our language shows us, if Wairua and Mauri were the same, there'd be one word.
Yeah.
That's my first thing I'd go to. And we know that Mauri and Wairua aren't kupumino, they're not borrowed words. And so to me, there's a whakaaro or a whakapapa to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my first reading. That's my first thing of anything like that when I'm going through that.
Yeah, pai tērā. Ki au hoki, ko tētahi he momo. For me, I think Wairua is something that you can't see. I think you can sometimes see Mauri in terms of like, if you're not Mauri tau.
Marama, yeah.
Yeah, if you're not Mauri tau, then you're anxious and you're worried. If you're Mauri tau, then you are like quite kind of in a different state of being.
Aye.
Like as a person, if you're Mauri it's something that you can physically see in a person by the way that they are perhaps behaving or their emotions or whatever is going on.
Oh, yeah.
For some people, they can see Wairua or, you know.
Yeah.
We talk about i te wā ka mate te tangata ko te Wairua ka ora. But, and see, you know, I just want to probably put a disclaimer. Hara tātou te... This would have been a great pātai for Praone. Anei tātou pia e wānanga ana i o tātou ake whakaaro. But yeah, ki au, koera pia tētahi āhuatanga o te Mauri me te Wairua, something that you can physically, like, yeah. Like, I'm always like, oh, me Mauri tau koe atareta, me kaua, whatever that might be. But yeah.
Patapatai.
Koina te pātai, ne? So, you know, my understanding of Mauri, and in the simplest form Pākehā, it's a life essence, a force. And we all have Mauri. E ora te tangata me Mauri, you know.
Yes.
And because ko tō tātou tinana, our physical form is he waka mo te Wairua. So we're a vessel for spirit, right?
Yeah.
But in order for that spirit to live in the body,
The body needs to have a Mauri fire in it.
me whai Mauri.
Yeah.
And
yeah, pai.
I think all people have the ability to imbue Mauri into areas. Ne? Pēnei te whatu Mauri.
Right.
We have the gifts and the abilities to imbue a life force into that.
Kia ora.
Through karakia, sometimes just through the power of thought. Now, when we walk into a house or a place, we all have the ability to get a sense of what that place is like.
Yeah.
And koenei au ki taku mōhi o te rerekētanga o te Wairua me te Mauri. Another rule of thumb, from what I've learned, is that e Wairua ai me whai kiko. If you have the things that, so he Wairua tō te tangata,
Yeah.
he Wairua, and this is a contentious part with some people, tō ngā mea ka whai kiko,
Yeah.
things that have flesh, are built with flesh. So
So like animals.
era katoa,
Right.
he Wairua, he momo Wairua. Wairua is what a house can't have.
Right.
Even though people say ko te Wairua o te whare,
Yeah, I hear you.
you're actually talking about the life force in the whare. It can be occupied by Wairua.
Right.
Ka pokea,
Yeah.
ka pokea e te kihau,
Yes.
e te kehua, hoi no, horekau tana Wairua, he Mauri ke.
Kia ora.
Could you sort of say that a Wairua is like a personality?
Well, you know, you could say we get our personality from a Wairua.
Well, I'm
I don't
just
think
thinking
that's too
in
far from the truth.
terms of like when they put like Mauri into say a toka, a kohatu for whatever reason to go in a whare or a waka or whatever. Like I wouldn't look at that rock and think, oh, look at this rock's got a real charming personality.
Yeah.
You know, but like get that it has Mauri.
Nā, e māramana ki tau ki nei, tau i kōrero nei. I would say, I believe you get your personality from your Wairua. Where else would you get it?
Yeah. Ko tētahi atu mea e mōhio nei ahau, something that I've heard or kind of believe in, I guess, is Wairua ki au, i te wā kei roto te pepe, i te kōpū o te whaia, it's not until their eyes are formed in the kōpū that a Wairua is also given to that tamaiti. So, yeah, at that stage of development of the pepe in the kōpū, that's when Wairua is gifted
Kia ora.
to the tamaiti.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
koera tētahi mea i ako ai au.
Yeah, koina hoki tāku i aku ai au. Me taku whakapono hoki. You know, yeah, ka hua mai ngā kanohi, o ka hanga ngā kanohi, ngā whatu
Yeah,
pupils. That's the time that, you know, kua uru ko whakaurua.
te Wairua.
Yeah.
So, Mauri and Wairua, you don't necessarily need both of them.
Well,
Ooh.
ki te poko tō Mauri, ka aha koe. If your Mauri is taken out,
Probably kamate.
ai. So e ora ai te Wairua i te waka. So in order for a Wairua to exist in a vessel,
Yeah.
me whai Mauri. So if we looked at use a car a lot, but it doesn't really...
But I'm just going back to like the example of a rock.
Yeah,
That can have Mauri, but it doesn't have Wairua.
yeah.
So like a person can lose their Mauri, but their Wairua.
Well, koina te rerekētanga o te tangata, kiko, me te whatu, me te kohatu. So in order for a person to live, it needs a Mauri. That is your, say like your engine, ne?
Yeah. Sort of like the petrol in your engine.
Yeah, well, see, this is us trying to find a good comparison. And we always use cars because a car would go along and then as soon as the, say, I don't know, the transistor goes, it's had it.
Yeah.
But there's no Wairua in it anyway. That probably reaffirms the kōrero, like in order to have Wairua, you must be of flesh, of kiko. He hai, nā ngā atua e rā I hanga, you know, to go back to our atua kōrero, our tuku iho, kōrero tuku iho.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nā ngā atua te tinana I hanga, hei tā, and this is the kōrero of Tainui and koutou Tainui tēnā, whakatikaina mai me nā rānei, hanga he ana taku kōrero. So they had hāne and puna, the male and female energies that met in this rangi, in this realm. And they had a union. And from them, they had the first known human, Tiki Āhua. Tiki Āhua needed a manawa. And they were gifted, or they created, or they were given by Io, rangahau. And this is, koina te kōrero mo te rangahau e hua mā. This is where rangahau comes from. And rangahau was put into the poho of Tiki Āhua as a manawa. And what's that talking about? I don't know, but it seemed like important to talk about.
Yeah, kōrero pai
But
tēnā.
so they had to imbue it with the manawa for it to live. Pēnei I te, ka hoke anō ki te kōrero a tāne rau ko hine ahu one. He created the body.
Yeah.
Actually, other atua came in and gave the parts, tāwhiri mate, ngā pūkahu, tūmatau, ngā mea rā te tangaroa, ngā wai o te tangata, ngā toto. And then he imbued it with the breath of life. Kia haunei, ko taua hā, ko te Mauri. Tihei,
Mauri ora.
tēnā tātou.
We've totes got to do a whole episode about that.
Oh, yeah.
Tika.
Patapatai.
So, back to the Pātai, Wairua and Mauri, what's the difference, ne? And so another part of Wairua is that it came from, well, hei tā te kōrero I ahu mai nei I rangi Ātea, I ngā rangi tūhāhā, ētahi ka ki no rehua, ētahi no te pūtahi nui o rehua. This is why, and you know, it's in our poroporo aki, we don't send Mauri off, because ko poko te Mauri.
Right.
We send Wairua off.
Yep.
Kia hoki
To
ai,
the waka Wairua.
ki ngā waka Wairua, kia hoki, and my Pātai, and this is like, he Pātai ui maki hoi, he wānanga I whakarotanga mā tātou, ka hoki mai te Wairua, hei tangata anō, do we have a kōrero about reincarnation? No ahurea ke atu anō? Yeah.
He pātai tino pai tēnā.
Yeah.
I don't know much kōrero about that. Kāre oku. Nā reira kāre oku kōrero hei koha ki tēnā, but kia puritia tātou I tērā pātai pia kia tuku ki a
Ai.
praone.
Yeah.
So interesting.
I've never heard about that.
And we had a wānanga tikanga I au I te panekiritanga, and I asked this,
Nice.
and I don't think kāri rongo mai a kraua I tāku I ki nei, I he rā nei te whakatakatoranga o taku pātai. No, because all I said, ka hoki mai te Wairua.
Right.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and perhaps ka pai I mena, if I could probably elaborate more, because hei ko tāna, ka hoki mai, ko ngā kehua, ki hau, poke.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's not what I meant. Like, reincarnate. Ka whānau mai anō te, yeah.
Yeah.
But ne he pātai pai te rā mo tātou katoa.
Kia ora.
Mena rā. And you know, just because, yeah. And ko te puheiri tēnei kōrero nei. And just because it's not in our kōrero, does that mean it's not real? Or mean, it is.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And ko e whakapono anau, he Wairua tātou e whai whiako ana hei tangata.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are all spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yeah. Te katai.
So,
Okay, wow.
We went deep right away te whānau.
Hopefully that helped you guys out there.
This is a great kōrero. And I think it's not about knowing, right? I think it's not about knowing. I think it's actually seeing where people are and their perceptions and stuff. Also, hoino, there also is he aho atua o ngā kōrero. And koe rā pēr tētahi mea hei rangahau mā tātou. Because the one thing is, and I'm going to go out of scope and put my neck out a bit, we can get confused about what's Māori and what's not. Because it's all Wairua. And, you know, it is all Wairua. But sometimes we may be looking at Māori whakaaro via
from
another...
a different lens.
Nice.
From a different lens,
Yeah.
you know. And there's a lot of initiatives happening in with the critical analysis on those, not a whakawā, whakaiti. It's about questioning like, he Māori tūturu tērā, ko whakamāori rānei I tētahi ahurea ke atu.
Yep. Te katai.
And that's not wrong, that's not right. However, you got to check some stuff first. Just kia tūturu ai, and because you're actually responsible for another person and their well-being.
Yep.
Koina te mea nui kia hau nei. Hoino, so EP 61 e hoa mā, tikanga 101 Wairua, and it was recorded during Mahuru, so ara noa atu nei ngā tauira pai mo te rerenga o te reo, kōrero ana mo tētahi kaupapa nui te hirahira.
Kia ora.
Yeah, so waiho I kona, tēnā koe T. Brooke.
Okay, next Pātai. This is from Te Mako. Quick question for Patapatai. In pepeha, when you say taku maunga or taku awa, you are saying my mountain, my river, etc. If you are to say te maunga and te awa, are you making a statement or are you still claiming my mountain, my river, etc.?
Oh, wow.
Te mako.
I've actually always wondered this myself.
Right. So whether we're saying te.
So like if I go, what's the difference with me saying ko tawhiti nui te maunga, ko tauranga te awa, ko blah, 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 blah. Or
taku.
tawhiti nui, taku maunga or tōku maunga.
Okay, yes.
Ko tauranga tōku awa.
Ki au, I think they're one and the same.
Kia ora.
Like if I was saying kongongo taha te maunga, which often I would say te, or I would say taku, I'm still meaning the same thing, as in I'm referring to my maunga as my maunga. The te and the taku don't necessarily negate, like, so if you're saying te, it's still, yes, that would be my answer to that. Pātai.
Yeah.
Still the same?
Well, you know, we're humans, bro. Tangata tātou, we are meaning-making machines, ne? So...
can put meaning into anything
well, that's
these
koina
days.
Tātou, koina, you know, that's what our thing is. And e pai tēnei pātai, because we've got a colleague who's just started with us, and he Pākeha, and he's really into being cautious
Kia ora.
about his pepeha and acknowledging where he is from. And so he uses te to show that it's not his.
Yeah, I see.
Okay.
Right.
And, you know, that is his intention, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes you can use it as another way, as definitive as. You don't have to say it's mine because, you know, koutou rātou o wanganui, ko koe te awa ko koe.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to say tōku. So kei te āhua rāne o te horopaki.
Kia ora.
And if mako, if you're having, if it's a thing with yourself or someone else, it's probably a great conversation to have with them. I don't think you'd want to, and I'm making these assumptions, and just for the sake of the conversation, that if you're being offended by it or you've been indifferent about it, probably have a conversation. But I think it's the intention at the end of the day.
Yeah. I find myself, like, if I have to do my pepeha for some reason, I usually go the te route because it's faster.
Yep.
And, like, you know, it rolls off
Yeah,
easier.
sure.
You just need to go
Practical.
tawhiti nui te maunga, tauranga te awa, pararaki te marae.
Yeah. And, you know, in other instances, there is only one maunga. So it's the maunga. The awa.
Yes,
you know?
yeah.
You know, I just think it's how your intention. Yeah, that's what I
So
think.
pai tēnā, we've just seen two different ways of using it. Like the te still means that it is mine, but then you've given us a great example of someone using it to inform others that it isn't. But anei taku pātai ki a tātou, how do we actually feel about people using pepeha, even, you know, like, is that, do we think it should be exclusively for Māori? Like when we're saying, because we're so, or are we okay with people, Pākehā, or others who get up and say, ko te endeavour taku waka, or, you know, like those sorts of things. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just, hey, tuku I te pātai, hey, wānanga mā tātou.
Kua hukia e koe tētahi rua kōrero nui e hoa.
Yeah.
And I follow this whārangi on Paiahu e hoa, man, it's called Mind Your Tongue.
Yes, that's, is it Vincent, is that his name?
I think so.
Yeah.
Me pono I pēnei au ko he tangata no engari e kare take ko se pai katoa wana kōrero.
No, he's awesome. He's an amazing kairanga hau. He's nā kuaroa ia e whakapauka hana mo te reo so.
Yeah, no nei mehi ana ki a koe e hoa, and Mind Your Tongue, whaia tērā whārangi, he has great real insights. And one of those insights, and it's something I've actually really had a thought about, and I think pepeha gets taught too early because it's loaded.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's loaded with this stuff. It's loaded with whenua trauma, language trauma, and political contentions.
Yeah, yeah.
Because of this kōrero. Because of like, is it yours? Where you? And so we'll just park that and
Probably
something to think about.
Confuses people more and like, who am I?
Well, you know, I'm talking, and I'm on the court about this. I'm talking about my own whānau who want to say where they're from, but they don't feel a connection. And then there's a bit of trauma. Then it just ka pupu ake.
That's right.
Yeah.
Tētahi whakaro anō, yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean is, that's his name, Vinny. He's a kairanga hau ia. I actually used a bit of, quoted him in my master's stuff because he's done some really awesome mahi over the years, and it's cool to see him putting, you know, kei te tautau I te ahi ai.
Koia hoki.
And that's important. And so this is why ia tātou e koro ana mo te pepeha. And then when I saw, is it 660's, that pepeha song?
Yep.
Mana tōku. Well, I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel. That kind of got me a certain way. Yeah.
It raised a good muka kōrero. I remember that. I was part of that muka kōrero.
Kia ora.
That our taku tuahine, our Maiki, she raised. And you know, it's good. It's great to have this kōrero. And so back to the pepeha part.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it... And if you're a kaiako e hoa mā, this is the part where you are responsible for the well-being of our tauira.
Yeah.
No matter who they are in your class.
Right.
But because it creates rifts. I've seen it to wānanga Aotearoa, some of our classes. So our responsible as kaitiaki, or, you know, people that are taking people on their journeys, is to actually probably, well, I think reconsider on where we teach pepeha, why we teach it, and then just work on that. And e pai te mahi a Vini ki te tautau I te ahi. Mena neina, horikau he take mo tēnei kōrero. Or, you know, mena neina, e raru tonu ana e tai o tātou whānau.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, pepeha.
Patapatai.
What's our kōrero again? Should and shouldn't they? Well, one thing is, I want to answer that real quickly. The people that want to use it, I would like you to research why you shouldn't and then why you could. Because... like I've been in this rohe for 20 years.
Yes, kia ora.
Engari no he au e hakamahi e nei maunga hei pepeha māku.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. But you know, he whakaro Māori hoki tērā.
That's a good point.
Well, we just had that.
Yeah.
They just had that maramatanga feeling.
I quite like when people just, rather than blah, blah, mountain, blah, 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 format.
Yeah.
I quite like it when people just use a sentence, like a kōrero from that rohe.
Yeah, ko hau tērā I naine, because...
Like, I feel like I could just knock my whole pepeha out by just saying ko te kuti, ko te wera, ko te haua,
Kia ora.
wapa nui e.
Kia ora.
Yeah.
Done, like without going into the nitty gritties.
Yeah.
And then maybe that might be a lead into, so someone might hear that and be like, hey, I'm from Upper Nui too. And then me and that person might get into, I'm from this marae,
whanakau,
this
and
awa, blah, blah, blah.
Kia ora. Tika tērā.
Pēhea koe kahurangi?
No, well, we often use a hau, ka tū a hau, ka ki, ko ngā tirangi wewehi, me ngā te whakauinga iwi. Like, you know, ka reo e whakahua pepeha I te nuinga o te wā.
Yeah.
As we're having this discussion about should we not, it's not to say that we, kei te whakahe tātou, e tahi whai I te reo, and then use these. Because you're right, it's about potentially the format that we're talking about here.
Yeah. Koe hoki.
How we use it and why we're using it. And sometimes, you know, when we're teaching te reo, we put these pressures on our language learners, and if they are Pākehā or otherwise, you need to take this on board and use this, and then, you know, tailor it to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that's the question is, do we need to do that to people who are embracing the language?
Yeah.
Or can we find other ways to do it?
Yeah.
And kia o kei reira pea oku whakaro. I don't think we have to do that.
Yeah, same.
But I am really grateful to everybody who are embracing te reo, because it's so hard these days to, you know, we're seeing so many examples of
so
not.
much PCness in the world. Yeah.
So he pai. e mihi
Yeah,
ana.
and you're right too, Hineta, about, and even so, you know, I love how tauiwi, they go back and research, because that becomes a bit of a riff for them too, like, I was born here and all that. And then other tauiwi, they're like, ko kaia whili te awa, and I forgot his maunga.
Yes.
But I know a drunken Welsh monk who was my guru for a while, he knew his pepeha from Wales.
Nice.
Cool.
And yeah, but you know, that was him and he was comfortable about that part. But what I am saying is to not sort of rubbish the idea and, I mean, for the sake of learning, but to use endeavour as a waka and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Unless you really mean it. You know, but don't use like flight Z747.
Oh my God, when I think that's where, ka tū aku pihi, taku whakarongo, I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Hoi anō.
Hoi anō. But there's a time for that. Yeah. Well, koina te pepeha. Did I answer your question? Did we answer your question? No, it's about actually going deep in the whakaaro. You know, it's all grey, e homa. It's all grey.
Te ao
I
Māori.
think we're making it
Te ao
more great.
Māori. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. You can't... Another thing is, e homa, if you have Pātai, and I get Pātai all the time outside of this, I'm sure we all do. If you're looking to confirm an opinion, ka ue Pātai mai ki hau. Ka wero ke I o whakaaro.
Yeah.
Kia tai rāno koe ki tētahi taumata whakaaro. You know, we're not here to blanket answer.
Yeah.
You'll get in trouble that way.
No, well, that's right. And maybe we need to put a little bit of a tagline in our title, Patapatai, without any whakautu.
Well, exactly.
It's just
Exactly.
wana, Patapatai, wana.
I love that.
Wānanga. Yeah, because like we get this all the time, and I'm sure e te iwi koutou, tātou katoa, we get asked for questions and people are expecting you to be like Google and get it straight away. And again, I do think it's about confirming bias. I mean, we all do it as well. We ask for questions sometimes to confirm something, but go out and try and negate your own whakaaro. That's the best way to rebuttal or to recognise is to sort of
Dig deep.
check your own thing.
Dig deep.
Critical analysis, babe.
Check yourself.
Critical review, era katoa. Hoi no, ka nui te.
Okay, we've only got time for one more pātai.
Ai.
And this is from Gina Cole. Tērā koutou, he kōrero I a Taringa mō te rerekētanga o kiwaha me kianga, a whakatauki me whakatauaki.
Kara.
All right.
What do you think? E hoa, Erica?
So, actually, a kianga, isn't that just a saying?
Yep.
But then so is kiwaha.
Yeah, tautoko that.
Yeah. I think kiwaha, like... So, rereke, kiwaha, you can't research the meaning of it, whereas kianga, you can find it and there's a definition.
Okay.
So you've got like, koia hoki is a kianga because you know exactly what that means, whereas there's others that you don't.
Whereas kiwaha, you cannot translate most of them. I'm just like,
Yeah, te hia kore. Like,
how does mehe te mean?
Exactly.
Literally, like a, or whatever.
That's my little understanding of kiwaha and kianga. Pēha koe kahu?
Yeah, e pai tērā, te kiwaha e rehu tonu ana te whakamārama. Sometimes we don't, kiwaha is, like we say, colloquial sayings or different sayings, but kianga kio is kind of like, an expression or to speak or, like a saying, like you said earlier, Erica. Yeah, but I wouldn't really say, he kianga, defining things is something that's a little bit tricky, kio. But e pai tēnā, I think some of what we've said perhaps gives a good definition for those two.
Yeah.
Okay.
And e pai tēnei te whakamārama I te aka, kianga, act of speaking, actually that's the act of, because it's like kianga, kōrerotanga, but saying and formulaic saying expression. So, and another one is a phrase or small group of words that forms a unit, either on its own or within a sentence.
Right.
And pai tēnei, ko te koia rā, te tā I te kawa me te tangata e whakapaiti ana, he tauira o te kianga I te reo Māori. So koia rā, that was, tā I te kawa, the performing of the kawa ceremony.
Right. So there's
te tangata e whakapaiti ana, the accused, are example of phrases in Māori. Where
phrases.
we
So
use
they're like those group of words that you always use those group of words together type of thing.
Yeah.
Phrase.
So, not so much figures of speech, but say like kōrero tuku iho, I think is a kianga. Or becomes a kianga.
No, that makes so much sense now.
And
as
then
opposed to kiwaha.
Whakatauki, whakatauaki.
So is whakatauki like a quote? There's probably a fancier name for that. But then whakatauaki are quotes again that you know the author of?
Yeah,
Kia
that's
ora.
a common way to describe whakaaki. Ne, ko te, when we put the macron on it, That's
it's a whakatau.
ki. You know, kōrero tēnei mea. Yeah. So we're able to kind of say, oh, that person said that.
Yeah.
They're proverbs, They're both proverbs, but
Proverbs,
we know the
proverbs,
difference between who said it and potentially who
And
didn't.
who didn't.
Yeah.
So that's how I know. Like my rule of thumb when I teach people, te whakatau ki, you don't know who said it, and te whakataua ki, you can say, te whakataua Bob Marley, the sun shall not smite time by day, nor the moon by light. Actually, that's a psalm, but I learned that from Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Io matua Marley. But yeah, that's the rule of thumb. Kiwaha, you sort of don't know, you can't really just look at it and go, that's the meaning. Kianga, you know, it's a group of words that are used as titles and phrase, Whakatauki, you don't know who said it. Whakatauaki, you know who said it.
Yeah.
Koia.
Ka pai.
So those are our very basic, simple whakamara mai ngari pai.
I love it.
Yeah. And you know, sometimes a whakatauaki can be a whakatauki to you because you don't know who said it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling good about this last part. I feel like we answered that one.
Engari anō e rā atu.
Yeah. I wānanga hia ngā pātai. I wānanga hia te kōrero. But hoi no, koina te atāhua, koina te rereke nei o te Patapatai, ka wānanga hia kē te au. Ai, no reira tā tātou waiata e hoa.
Ai, hei whakahuihui o tātou whakaro, and I think...
Hei hakakapi.
Well, hey, actually, yes.
No,
and don't say kinaki, remember?
Ai.
You're not allowed to say kinaki. Well, yes, hei hakakapi. And how fitting of us to take a waiata from... The Te Matatini album has just gone out, and they have released an item from each kapa that stood at this year's Matatini. So we'll take ropu from Te Haumi, and ko wai ki atu ko Hātea Kapahaka me tā rātou waiata ringa, waiata āringa, no te tai tokerau. How appropriate.
How appropriate.
Oh, so that's the name of the waiata. No te tai tukere. Oh, yeah, cool.
E mihi ana kia koutou e aku whainga. Tēnā koutou.
E aku whainga.
Did you know in Tainui they say heinga and in Tai Tokere they say whainga? Mainga, nera.
Oh, wow, okay.
Huri koaro.
Yes,
Yeah, hoi no, ka waiho e ra kōrero.
Anei a Hātea.
Whakarongo mai. Hoi no e hua maha.
O, tēnā tātou.
Tēnā tātou. Ka waiho e nei kōrero, hei whakaarotanga mā koutou, me o mātou aroha ki a koutou o ngai taringa, tēnā koutou e noho mai. E noho mai?
Noho rara.
E noho rā. E noho rā?
E noho mai rā.
Ora mai.
E noho ora mai.
E noho...
Oh, wow.
Haere rā.
Oh, no. It's hei kona rā.
Hei kona.
Bit whakaronga, bit kari. Gather up close, everybody, buddy. Taringa. Yeah, tahuri mai ki yo. Whakarongo ki te tangi a te korimako. Kōrero flowing out the hook of force. Kaupapa relevant, kaupapa out of bounds. Kaupapa exigent, kaupapa paramount. Nā kona whakapiri mai ki te kaupapa tino whakahira. Whakarongo pi kari mai. Hare mai, o Taringa, hare mai. We gotta gather up close, everybody. Gather up close, everybody. Kani move that body. Kani move that body.
Taringa, he mea tuku nā te wānanga o Aotearoa. Ā, nā te māngai pāho me irirangi te motu I tautoko. To listen to more episodes, search for us on your podcast app and subscribe, or follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Taringa, whakarongo mai.